Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update on the current situation in Spain. Yes, I'm back. Took a couple of days off from recording videos, needed some time away from the camera, time away from the editing software, time away from doing videos. But I'm back again today, and there's been lots of things going on in Spain over the last couple of days, as you are no doubt aware of. Had a few comments from people asking if anything had happened to me. The answer is no. I'm in perfect health, haven't got the coronavirus, although I did spend a little bit of time in a hospital the other day, but nothing wrong with me. Another story, and I'll tell you about that towards the end of the video. So, what's been going on in Spain? Well, as you probably know, Madrid has gone into another lockdown. Madrid and various smaller cities around the outskirts of Madrid as well. Something like 9 places in total, plus a couple of health districts, I think. Luckily, where I am here, 20 kilometers away from the capital city, we are not in lockdown. Everything is normal here. We can go about our normal day to day. So I'm not really sure what the characteristics are in order to be locked down. I think it's if you have 100,000 people or more living in the municipality. I think that is the criteria that they are using, and of course they have lockdown, as I said, Madrid capital city and various places around Madrid as well. And needless to say, people in the capital city are not happy. Still a lot of confusion. People don't know exactly what they can do, people don't know what they can't do, and really things are not very clear. But basically I think we could classify what's going on in Madrid at the moment as a light lockdown. Not as severe as the one we had earlier in the year. That's why I think we're going to call it a light lockdown, because people can go about their day to day from Monday to Friday. Kids can go to school, people can go to work if they have a certificate that justifies them going to work. There's no problem with that, and people are allowed to go about their day to day, although they're being told that it's better to stay at home if possible. If you don't have to go out, don't do it. And the other big thing, of course, is that everything shuts at 10 o'clock. All of the bars, all of the restaurants, all of the nightlife activity shuts in Madrid now at 10 p.m. Or I think 10 p.m. are last orders, and everybody has to be out by 11 p.m. And these measures came into effect last night at 10 p.m. Now, we saw during the week there was a lot of tension between the main political groups in Spain, between the central government, between the Madrid government. When the central government made everything official in the State Gazette, the Madrid government said that they were going to challenge that decision, but there hasn't been a resolution yet on that challenge. And of course the lockdown went into effect last night. Things might change on Monday. I think the Madrid government is still trying to get this lockdown overturned, but again, not really clear what is exactly going to happen. There were lots of people complaining yesterday about the fact that things were shutting down at 10 p.m. Bars were shutting down, restaurants were shutting down, as I said, and of course people not happy that they can't go out and have dinner with their friends and family like they would normally do on a Friday night, or again tonight, Saturday night, a very popular night. In order to go out, have a meal, have a few drinks, obviously tonight you're not going to be able to do that unless you go out before 10 p.m. And that's also an interesting fact, because I think one of the main things that's going on here now, and I don't think it's a deliberate move on behalf of the government, but of course if places have to shut down at 10, 10:30, 11 p.m, then people are going to have to adapt their timetables and have dinner like the majority of people around the world at 8 o'clock, 8:30, or even 9 o'clock. So people here are being forced to adapt to a more European timetable. So you still can go out for a drink, you still can go out for dinner, but you have to do it before that curfew, and of course that's what people are not used to doing. We all know that people in Spain have dinner very, very late. Friday night especially, Saturday night, people can sometimes sit down to have a meal at 11 p.m. But for the time being, they're going to have to get used to an earlier timetable. They're going to have to get used to having dinner at 8 if they want to go out and do it, maybe at 8:30, maybe at 9, and that's going to be something that people in this country are going to have to get used to for the time being. It's not difficult to do, but try to convince the local population. Another thing that they were worried about here was that there was going to be a mass exodus from the city. People from Madrid were going to leave the city. They were going to go to second homes, second houses that they have on the coast, maybe go back to their village, maybe if they're studying here, go back to the city where they are from. And of course, lots of people were trying to leave the city last night before 10 p.m. They were also talking about that today, a lot of people were going to try to get out of the city as well. Now, I live very close to one of the main highways, so I went down there earlier today to check out if there was extra activity on the highway. So let's go and have a look at that video that I recorded earlier today. Alright, so here we are. We've got the Valencia highway behind me. This is the motorway that takes people from Madrid to Valencia. It's one of 6 or 7 main roads that take people out of Madrid. And of course, everybody was talking about this exodus from the city. Maybe a lot of people got away last night, I don't know. But as we can see, going in that direction there, okay, so going down that way, that's the way to Valencia. That way is to Madrid. And to be honest, there's not a lot of traffic. As I said, a lot of people probably got out yesterday, people that were trying to get away to their second homes, people that maybe want to get away to their parents' house if they come from another city in Spain, people trying to flee the city as it went into that lockdown yesterday, last night to be exact, at 10 p.m. And as I said, the press were talking about this exodus, but as we can see, traffic not really very busy, people going about their normal day to day. Now I just mentioned that this is one of the 6 or 7 main roads that takes people out of Madrid or also brings people to Madrid. You've got the A1, the A2, the A3, the A4, the A5 and the A6. This is the A3. The A1 goes to Burgos, the A2 goes to Barcelona, the A3 Valencia, this one here, the A4 Andalusia, A5 Extremadura, and of course the A6 goes to A Coruña. And those are the main escape routes out of the city. There's also some radial roads, they call them radial roads. They're sort of parallel roads to these ones here. Not used by a lot of people because people don't want to pay for roads in this city. And maybe there's another 2 or 3 minor roads that can take people out of the city as well. But these are the main ones. And as we can see, pretty quiet in my opinion. So not a huge exodus out of the city. But again, they might have got out last night. So let's go and finish the video. So there you go, that's the situation on one of the major highways or motorways here in Spain. Now of course the other day we got to day number 200 and I said at the end of that video that I was going to take a couple of days off. I had a couple of things that I needed to do. I had to organize some English classes that I've got here in a high school, so I had to do a little bit of work related to that and I couldn't dedicate time to the videos. But I'm back again and I'm going to try and keep them up on a daily basis for as long as I can. And unfortunately, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I had to spend a little bit of time in one of the Madrid hospitals. My son unfortunately came down with a stomach pain on Tuesday, I think it was. He started to have a pain in the side of his abdomen. And of course, we went to the local medical center. We saw the pediatrician and she said that it could be appendicitis. Now, we didn't have a fever or any other symptoms except for the stomach pain. So she said to go home and if the pain persisted, then we should go to the emergency ward at the local hospital, which is what we did the following day. He went through a series of tests, was there for a few hours, and they couldn't find out exactly what the problem was. He had a blood test, he had an ultrasound, but they couldn't come back with anything conclusive. But the most likely thing was that he had to have an operation. Unfortunately, at the hospital that we went to, they didn't have the facilities to operate on children, so we had to go to another hospital in the capital city. So into Madrid we went. We went to a hospital called Gregorio Marañón. We went to the children's section of that hospital, a few more tests, and by 6 o'clock that afternoon, he was in the operating theatre getting his appendix removed. He spent the night at the hospital and came back the next day. Now, I wasn't allowed to stay in the hospital. The new rules are that only one parent or one family member can be present because of the whole COVID-19 regulations that they have in place. But I will say that the hospital system, or at least the children's section, is working very, very well. In fact, I didn't see any other children in the hospital. I think that people are staying away from hospitals. Of course, we were a bit anxious having to go to a hospital, of course. You don't really want to be going to a hospital with all that's going on at the moment. But of course, when you have something like appendicitis, you have to go and get it seen to. Otherwise, the situation can be worse. Now, of course, as I said, we went to the children's hospital. We didn't go to the main hospital, so I can't really tell you what the situation's like there from a COVID point of view. But at the children's hospital, like I said, I didn't see any other patients. I only saw hospital workers there, and everything seemed to be under control, at least in that hospital. But what I will say about the hospital system is that it seems to be very, very organized at the moment. And I will put it out there that if you are in Spain and you do have a medical issue and you're worried about going to a hospital, don't worry, go to the hospital. They will take care of you. Everything, as far as I saw, seemed to be under control and things seemed to be working normally. So basically that's it. That's what's been happening for the last couple of days. The situation in Madrid, of course, the situation around Spain, other places are going into a lockdown situation as well. But as I said, I'm going to try to put out a video again on a daily basis to keep people up to speed with what's going on in the country and how the situation in Madrid pans out. Whether the Madrid government is able to overturn the decision from the central government or whether we continue in the lockdown situation as we have at the moment. As I said, it's a light lockdown, nothing like the one that was experienced earlier in the year. So that is something positive that we can take out of the situation. And as I said before, this particular area that I'm in here hasn't gone into a lockdown for the time being. But fingers crossed, you never know what's going to happen in the next couple of days or the next couple of weeks here in the Madrid community. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. I'll be back again tomorrow with a news video, so stay tuned for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.